Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And tonight we are going
Somewhere over the rainbow, where is a sweet, there's a sweet that I heard of once in a slow sweetie lullaby.
All right, not bad. I haven't done a duet improv song in a while.
Did I do the weird voice
You did.
over
The eyes?
this
Not
time?
as weird.
Okay.
Not as
I was really
weird as
working on it.
last
I was
time.
really internalizing that whole thing.
It wasn't like too big. It just kind of made me embarrassed a little, so I was
Oh my
like not
God.
looking at
Oh
you.
my God. Right
I-
now?
I apologize.
Jesus.
Because I didn't want to crack and just start like laughing. God. Anyways, so tonight we watched a little movie called The Wizard of Oz, which is our oldest movie to date. 39?
39.
This movie, but it's a classic, you know?
Classic.
And I thought about it, and I think we had like pitched this or talked about it, I don't know, at some point earlier on, and you were like, I want to watch that movie, man. You would like, I don't know, you put up some stink as usual.
Interesting.
And,
As usual.
and about movies I pick. And then I was like, okay, fine, whatever, we'll do it. I'll save it for another time. And now that I have all the power, because,
I got the power.
yeah, like, you know, every other, like, I pick a movie, she picks a movie, we have to do it, whatever it is, probably.
It's really so much more democratic.
It really is.
You know what it eliminates? It eliminates my bad moods.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's, you know, it's not, it did used to be, you know, I will say this about myself, you know, I just get in moods about different things, guys. Sometimes not in the mood to watch a movie. And it just so happened that I was never in the mood to watch any of Sweetie's movies.
Real nice, real nice. But this is a classic, and I knew we would have a lot to discuss in regards to it. I mean, I have a lot of things to say. I finally have taken 2 full pages of notes.
Whoa.
So I'm ready. But
So, fun fact
yes,
about this movie. There will be menu trivias probably sprinkled throughout the podcast today,
Great,
guys. I won't
great.
just like lump them in the end, but there's so many and they're really interesting. So this is the #1 most viewed film in history.
Huh.
And you know what? I believe it. Here's why. Okay, this is the deal with like The Wizard of Oz being a really old movie, right? Like, what's another movie from 1939 that like everyone in the world has seen? There's not many, right?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, but
What was
like,
that?
but not everyone has seen The Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz or knows like the imagery associated
Yeah.
with it, right? So like soup famous, and it was also like that in our family too. And I think this what happens is like you grow up with it. It's like a big snowball, right? And they tell 2 friends, and they tell
A
2
big
friends.
snowball. Oh, okay.
But like everyone's parents watch this, so like, and probably even more so the baby boomers, you know, who are all our parents are. This was like, you know, such a big movie for them. Really came out when like, you know, was a, I don't know if it was like, would it have been a classic in like by the 50s?
I mean, didn't it win the Oscar for Best Picture? Or whatever?
It did not. Okay, so this is the real fucked up thing, guys. Didn't win any Oscars for acting or the movie or anything. It won for Somewhere or the Rainbow, Avi,
Abs.
and then like original score, like the music. So yeah, what the fuck, guys?
What one instead?
I don't know.
Casablanca.
Well, we'll have to look it up, but yeah. So this movie is, I think, of any movie like ever, almost a classic.
A classic.
And that's how we were. So maybe you can explain a little bit how we got introduced into our lives.
Well, I guess, they played it every year on Thanksgiving, right? And that's where we watched it?
No,
Oh, okay.
we had the video, and
That was Mom. That was Carol.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we had the VHS. It was one of my favorites. When I was little, I remember being obsessed with Glinda And so like I just loved this movie. We had this certain VHS copy. I wonder if you remember this, where the preview was like a Downy or a Snuggle commercial, but it was a Wizard of Oz theme.
Yes!
So
Look, I love that commercial.
so
Maybe
it
we can find
involves.
it.
So the kids want to put on like a Wizard of Oz play. The mom's like, "Oh, I'll help you." So she gets like a fluffy towel for the
All like
lion.
things you wash with Downy, I
Yeah,
think.
it was like something like that. It was so cozy, and it just reminds me of being a kid. So I
Yeah.
hope it's on YouTube because I'm
Oh
gonna
my
watch
God,
that
it
and
was
be
so
like,
good. I
and be
remember
like
that.
Snuggle
Good memory, sweetie. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's a
I
really
know.
good memory.
I know.
So
yeah.
So I would say that. So we never saw it on the TV, and like we said, like that was a real tradition when
We could have.
when Carol was growing up. Maybe I do
think we
remember
did.
seeing it a couple of times. But here's the reason why we probably never watched it on TV. Because how much longer could it fucking be if it was on TV with commercials? Okay, guys, I love this movie, but it's long, and this is maybe the second time I've ever seen the whole thing because I never make it past. Let's say Emerald City.
Do you want to know? Do you know how long it is? Give me a guess.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
An hour and 40 minutes.
What? Why does that seem so long?
So sometimes, usually, as you guys know, Sweetie and I watch the movie together. When I pitched this movie, I was like, maybe we can watch it separately before the podcast because it's so fucking long. So then I go and I like rent the movie and I rent it on Amazon or whatever, and it's like an hour and 40 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, if you had asked me, I literally would have been like, I don't know, 3.5 hours.
That's just 10 minutes over our perfect movie limit.
I know. It's one of the shorter movies we've seen.
Okay.
It blew my mind.
Okay, here's my theory with this, okay? Okay, what are the best parts as a kid for this
beginning
of
part.
this movie is the beginning and definitely Munchkin Land, right?
And like the beginning of Oz, yeah.
Yeah. So the movie goes like pretty straight downhill in terms of like excitement wise, like after Munchkin Land. Then it goes like uphill again when like the witch in the castle and all that. But then it gets like scary as fuck. So there's probably like another reason why you like never went past Emerald City, because like once they meet Oz and then the stuff with killing the witch is like fucking terrifying.
Scary.
Those winged monkeys, guys.
Ooh.
Oh,
Don't mess with those.
Yeah, so scary. But it, the Wizard of Oz in general is such, so iconic in not only the portrayal of this movie with Judy Garland having like a huge and really turned her into a star. I mean, she was a pretty big star before this because she was like a child actor. But this was like her first sort of adult role, right? And really like skyrocketed her and all that.
Breakout.
Yeah. So not only like because of that, but like also like the ruby slippers, like all her little Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, Tin Man. I mean, you could see an image of a Tin Man anywhere and be like, Wizard of Oz, right? Ruby slippers,
Yeah,
Wizard of Oz.
Definitely.
Like her like little gingham. Is it gingham or gingham?
I thought you were going to say, is it gingham or gingham? I was like, gingham style?
It's gingham, I think.
I think
But
it's gingham.
blue checked little pinafore thing and the hair and pigtails and like and little basket and Toto, guys, Toto.
God bless Toto.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
it's just it's
the
very
classic of all
iconic,
classics.
yeah, and like obviously, yeah, is I think I would venture a guess it's the most like referenced movie and like TV like that other movies and TV shows
Right.
reference. It's also there's a lot of quotes on
Yep.
well, a few actually, a lot of quotes on AFI's like 100 best movie quotes or whatever.
Yep.
There's just
And
a lot
like
to love.
one of the most famous songs in the world,
yes,
which they weren't even going to put in the movie.
what dummies
They were going to cut it out. They thought it was like too sad, and then they had
But it
one point
is.
where she sang. They had her at first singing the song like when she was stuck in the Wicked Witch's like dungeon or like little room and stuff, and she was like so lonely, and everyone got like so upset and cried on set because it was like so sad. So they like they put it in a different place. So it was like a little bit more like hopeful, I guess, which is hey smart. And they kept it in there. And guys, holy shit, what a song!
What a song.
Do you love that song?
I love that song.
I never like get sick of that song.
No,
I'll
it's
hear it,
beautiful.
and it always just makes me feel like so cheery.
It is.
It's a beautiful song.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't tell you the last time I saw this
Yeah.
the whole way through. Maybe
Same.
not ever, because I'm like confused now. Like when you were just talking about that, I was like, did she get trapped in a little dungeon room and was sad? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, she's
I guess
like
we'll talk about
looking at the ball, and she sees Auntie Em be like,
Oh.
Dorothy,
Okay.
Dorothy.
That's why I was so confused about the beginning part. I swore that he did see Auntie
no.
M in the ball, but now I know it's that.
No.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah, it's like, so I always like the most creepy imagery, like I said, was in that scene. So with like the hourglass with the red sand.
All of the witch stuff is this bright
Usually.
red, like very violently like red color, right?
Yeah.
There's like the smoke that like happens when she leaves, the hourglass, there's like the other part of the spiral of the yellow brick road is like that bright red, which I assume goes to the witch's castle, but I don't know.
Good
It's
one.
just a thought. That's one of my questions pending, you know. But yeah, it's great, but it's scary as fuck. I have a list of about 30 things that scare me in this movie,
right.
and it's not just the monkeys. I'll be honest.
Totally. And because I think part of it is like, you know how like 30s style and glamour can seem almost like really scary now.
Well, to me, it was always scary.
Okay.
And it's because, and I've figured this out now that I am mature and can, you know, vocalize these things, I think. It's because they film it on a studio, which is like very sterile and silent. So like if you like, you can like, the sound design, you know, back then was so like, there wasn't like, big background sound.
Was
it was
just
just
like a big
just
mic?
the dialogue.
Yeah.
And like, that's it. And like, because the background is like desolate Kansas and it's silent, and then we get to Munchkinville and everything's Munchkinville, whatever. We get to Oz.
Next to Munchkin
And,
Land.
not as nice as Munchkin Land. It's the slums. But everything that like really plasticky texture that everything has is very upsetting. And it reminds me of Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme, which is like another deeply upsetting feeling that it gives me. I don't know. It verges on like puppets for me. So I get nervous.
Definitely, but like there was a certain like almost like a labyrinth kind of like feeling, you know, like kind of like weird creepy stuff. They're like, oh, it's like kind of creepy, but as a kid you find it like
but you were like, they
interesting.
weren't trying to be creepy, I don't
Right.
think.
Oh, definitely
I think
not.
maybe
No.
that's what makes it creepy.
Yes.
It's just that
No,
they were
definitely.
like, these are actually really sweet Munchkin makeup ideals that we have, not creepy.
Right. So now I'm like, do kids still like, is the cycle like perpetuated where like, because we watch, our generation watched with Wizard of Oz 2, like they show it to their kids, or will those kids be like really sketched
Do we
out?
want to keep the cycle going? Is that something we should end? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's unfair to little people, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows, man? Whew, see, we're already talking about so much, and we haven't even broken to the surface.
We should maybe, after we've done all of the movies we all ever want to cover, we should just go with the classics.
How are we ever going to remember all the movies we ever
It could
wanna
happen,
cover?
but also we could like switch it over.
I thought of like 20 more yesterday.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
we have to do.
No, I'm just saying when we're like 80 years old, and we'll be like, let's cover the classics.
It's going to be podcasts anymore. It's going to be like virtual. We're gonna just like beaming into your head like Edward Nygma and Batman Forever.
I hope we're still podcasting in 202060. I'm here.
I
I'm here for you.
I don't know if it'll sustain that long. The overall, the media, podcast media, you know, everything's changing. All right, cool. All right, I say we get into it.
Yeah, I'm ready for the synopsis. Everyone's gonna know the story, but we're gonna do a real sweetie style take of it, I think, as we always do.
Obviously.
It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah, sweeties, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
Got a little quiet at the beginning. Dorothy Gale lives in Kansas. Woof. We talked about this before in Return to Oz, because what the fuck is up with Kansas? Like, I know, and I know this is something that like we now know as adults is not true, but like they portray Kansas so like, oh my God, why would you ever fucking live there? It's just like a barren, desolate. Like, I'd rather live on Tatooine in like Star Wars with like the sand pit monster thing than live in fucking Texas.
Here's my theory: farming. Right? There was like a ton of space and people made farms.
But like, what the fuck are you farming out there? Doesn't it like never rain or whatever? Like,
no, I think it does.
like farming moisture. It is Tatooine. Okay.
No, it's not the desert. I mean, they get rain there. It's really flat, so it's good for farming.
It's a prairie. But
yeah, she lives there. So poor Dorothy seems like an orphan. She lives with her aunt
again,
and uncle.
We talk about this again in Return to Oz. Aunt M, Uncle Henry, old as fuck.
Yeah, old as fuck and mean as fuck. Okay, I know like Auntie M like really turns around by the end, but like hell yeah, I'd run away too. That bitch was mean. She was mean.
She was awful, but then she was like, "Have some crumpets," and like not even in a nice way. Like, just eat these crumpets.
Or donut.
She called it something. I think it was crumpet. I don't know. But yeah, wow. So Dorothy is a beautiful young girl stuck on this farm. Her only friend is her dog, which like bless Toto. I love him. He's super cute. But that's depressing, right? So imagine how you would feel if you lived in Kansas and then some like evil lady like bicycled over and was like, I'm gonna kill your dog. Like I would jump out the fucking window. I would jump in the tornado and kill myself because there is nothing left, guys. So Miss Gulch is her name. Like, give me a fucking break. This crazy bitch, right? It's Kansas. I'm guessing it's very hot. She wears like buttoned up Victorian style dress.
That is the style.
On a bicycle?
Yeah. Okay. Elmira Gulch seems like she owns like the whole fucking town, which is bullshit. I don't know. Maybe her husband was some old dude and died. Whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to like a Joker style movie about Miss Gulch.
Good call.
I'm just saying.
that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would love that. So at the beginning of the movie, Toto, dear sweet Toto, Totes, cool. Totes runs after Mrs. Gulch's cat and like just scares him or bites him.
Wait,
or what's
do we see this happen? No.
Is that what happened? Yeah, he chases her cat.
We saw it?
And then he bit her.
We saw this all happen.
No, this happened.
Okay, this is off camera.
She comes running. Yeah, she comes running in, and then she's
sure
trying to
it
get like consult from like Auntie M, Uncle Henry. But the incubator's broken. Got to get the 5,000 chicks out of it. Then she seeks consult from the 3 handymen who work on the farm.
Never heard you use that word.
Consultation. 3 hands on the farm. Okay, one is named Hunk. I thought it was Huck. And why is his name Hunk?
I don't know. Hunk, which makes him even creepier, and then like Heck, and then
Hickory,
yeah. Hickory Dickory Dock. I don't know. Not sure what the deal is there, but yeah, no one wants to give her the time of day. And she really at this point she just wants to complain about Miss Gulch. Like, girl just wants to like get it off her chest, right, and be like, listen to what this crazy bitch did. It was crazy. So then. There's like some kerfuffle. Dorothy falls in a pig pen. It's like for some reason, very stressful for everyone.
Help me.
He like has a heart attack about it. What was wrong? Like she couldn't get up? I'm still confused about that.
Well, they were all like running all over her, I think. And why wasn't she muddy?
She was like cobwebby. That was it.
Okay.
I don't know. But
it was a dry pig pen, guys.
So we go through that. She sings her little song. We'll talk about the songs later, so don't worry. And then Miss Gulch, bicycles over. So she comes in and she's like, "Listen, that dog bit me. I'm putting it down. I'm taking it right now, and I'm gonna kill it." Like what?
Yeah. Which she has a point. And I do not want, Toto to die, but when like dogs start biting people, but she's not really nice either. So I think Toto's doing it for a variety of reasons.
He knew she was a witch.
But here's the thing.
Better.
Miss Gulch ain't very bright. Because you know what she brings to take Toto away?
Yeah.
A picnic hamper. Why did she think he was not going to be able to get out of the picnic hamper?
They didn't have dog carriers back then. She can't go to Petco in Kansas in 1939 or whatever and buy one. Yeah, so she puts him in the picnic basket, puts it on the bike, drives off. Unfortunately, they have to comply with, what she says, even though Auntie M's like, I could call you several things right now, but I won't because I'm a Christian. And I'm like, God damn it, Auntie M. And then Uncle Henry's like, smiles like, I swear, it would have been great if he was like, I'm not afraid. Yeah. Like, you're a bitch. Like, that's what he was thinking. But he doesn't do it because he's
no balls.
He really has no. Like, he's sweet, but.
No, there's nothing.
What's
going on?
Yeah, nothing. You got nothing, Henry? Nothing for us?
What is that quote from Ace Ventura? Where he's like, "Cars behind the wheel, but there's no the car's running, but there's nobody behind the wheel."
Yeah, I think about that.
She expects them home any minute. Wrong movie.
Your wife said she expects them any minute. Good times. Okay. So she has to let him go. She's like inconsolable in her room, like sobbing, which you would be, as we just discussed. This is really awful.
Yeah, bullshit.
And then Toto, because he's like smart as fuck, is like, I can get out of this picnic basket. All I have to do is pop my head out and jump off. Like, duh. So he goes off. Runs home, jumps into the window. It's so cute. Dorothy's so excited. She's like, "You came back!" It's so sweet. And then she's like, "Oh no, she's gonna come back for you."
You wept. Oh my god! He always just like saves the day, and then when he saves her day at the end, saves her day. Saves the
she's
day
crying now. Like,
oh my
holy
god,
crap!
That little dog.
He's so sweet, or she. It's probably usually dogs.
It's a she. You're
dogs
right.
in movies are usually girls. I wonder why that
You're
is.
gonna love the name. Oh my god! I hope you didn't read it. Did you?
I mean, I have at some point in my life, but I don't remember what it is. But So they run away. So
she's like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill
Which,
my
like,
dog.
but, like-
I got no job prospects, no romantic prospects. Even though some people say that her and Hunk had like a romantic vibe, which is why she likes the Scarecrow so much.
ew.
I know.
Ew.
That's a post-sequel I didn't need.
Oh, gross.
Dorothy and Hunk.
I did wonder that. I was like, ooh, isn't Auntie M worried about like these men taking advantage of this sweet young girl? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she runs
busts
away
out of there.
I don't know where the fuck she thinks she's going in Kansas, but she like crosses this like really creepy bridge that I thought had no water underneath it, but I noticed on this viewing that it did have a small stream, which makes me feel a little better. But as luck would have it, runs into a traveling wizard. What is
Fortune teller? Is that like a fortune teller?
I did not understand what like the thing like the crown heads of it didn't even say he was it's just like he did one of like many things. One of these is fortune telling. So I mean, let's just say it. He's a swindler. He's a con artist. Like he's gonna take your money and it's not real. It's like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I hope we're still recording. If we're not, we'll just edit this part out and then we can like fucking redo it or something. So she's like she goes, oh, I forget how to get into this conversation, but he's like, where are you headed? And he's like, okay, we've been recording this whole time. I'm sorry for that really weird part. It's fine. So he's like roasting hot dogs or something. I don't know. And he's like, I'll prove to you that I'm a fortune teller. And then he guesses and like gets all of the guesses wrong except for like
That is how fortune tellers work.
on his 10th try he does. And she's like, how did you know? And I'm like, because everything else was fucking wrong. Like, put it together.
He does put it together that she's running away from home and does the good thing and basically like tells her that
Okay, no, that is not a good
people are upset at home. If she didn't run away, like back home, she probably
He
would have
didn't
like.
have to say she was fucking dying of a heart attack.
Okay, so he was like a little extreme. Okay, my favorite part of that whole scene is when he goes, like, oh, I see a woman in a dress, like against a fence, and she goes, and he goes, that's my aunt. She goes, that's my Aunt Em. I believe her name is Emily. How did you know? That's my favorite part. I'm always like cracked up.
It's a miracle.
Not only because my name is Emily, because I'm like, yeah, but also like that is fucking funny. And then Dorothy's like, oh my God, how did you know?
There can be miracles when your name's Emily. Wow, yeah. So she falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. Girl, I mean, she's from Kansas and alone in the world. Like, what do we expect, right? She's not hip on the, smart stuff. So she's like, gotta go home. And as luck would have it, because it's Kansas, there is a tornado that is gonna rip through the plains. So he's like, better get home. There's a storm brewing or whatever. And then he's like, let me take my horse. We have to get undercover. Where the fuck are they going undercover? Where are they gonna get undercover?
I don't know. Maybe the tornado didn't go in their path, but
So Dorothy runs home.
Yeah.
The twister looks very close.
okay, it looks close. And I want to say that still is like a pretty good tornado twister scene. It was still really terrifying. And there's something about that it's in that like weird black and white or sepia or whatever it is like makes it even more terrifying. And I will tell you this right now, that it was this movie that started me having like basically draw out a tornado plan and do exercises like in the basement on what would happen if there was a tornado. I was convinced that a tornado was going to happen, just like Dorothy.
For sure. I mean, this movie is still why I'm terrified of tornadoes, and because there's like a big tornado resurgence in the 90s for some reason. And but I was like less concerned that they were going to happen where we lived, and more concerned when we like would drive to Florida and the sky looked dark. Yeah, I would be terrified, and then you and Liz would be like, "There's going to be a tornado," and I'd be like,
"Well, they do have tornadoes there," and it also made me be like, "I'm never going to Kansas, guys. I am never going to Kansas. Still haven't been, but like." I mean, that's not why.
we don't need to. That's why I'm not going.
Yeah.
Who
and
knows?
It does make you think, like, why do people live there? Oh my God. It just seems like a scary thing. And I know Kansas has its benefits and whatever, but like, people get out.
Get out of Kansas.
Get out of Kansas.
The whole family goes to the storm cellar, and Auntie M's freaking out because she's like, I can't find Dorothy. And Uncle Henry's like, it's too late. It is not too late. And, like, you, like, sacrifice yourself and find that girl.
Yeah, they
but the
weren't doing
saddest part is that she's, like, right behind them, and she, like, this is so sad. She's, like, in the house, and she's like, Auntie Em, Uncle Henry. They're not in the fucking house. Like,
I know.
I
was like, go straight for the store,
she
girl.
looks
What are
in,
you
like,
doing?
she looks in all the rooms.
I know.
Are they having sex in this room? Like, what? So she goes to the storm cellar. Unfortunately, it's locked, and it's so windy and loud that they probably can't hear her banging. But, like,
Oh my
that
God, I
part
hate
is
that
so awful.
Oh, when she's like hitting it with her foot because she's like she still
Okay.
has her suitcase. Put the suitcase down.
I thought she did because she puts it down to pick up Toto.
Oh, yeah.
Because Toto's like running around. He's like this teeny little dog. He's gonna get like swooped up in 2 seconds. I was like, pick up Toto. I was so upset.
Okay, no, you're right because I think she pulls both the hands with both hands. Yeah.
So she goes back in the house. Is like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And then
That's scary.
the like door something
Window.
flies off. The window frame flies off and hits her in the head. And she gets knocked unconscious. So then once like we get the swirls, right? So it's like swirly, swirly, swirl, and then you see this like there's this cool effect where she comes to and she realizes she is in the tornado.
We must be in the tornado.
Because that's how tornadoes work, which is really very reassuring. If you get sucked up in one, you just are just like, yay! And then you see all these people that you might know or you might not, but like you see them and you're like, hey, and then you're fine. That's not true though, because if you do get sucked up in a tornado, you die like immediately. So awful to think about. But anyway, so Dorothy's like, la la la, here I am in the tornado. So then like all these weird people float by. Sweet confusion. I thought those were all people she knew. I thought they were like the farmhands and Aunt Em and Uncle Henry.
Too. And I'm like, what are they doing in a boat?
Me too. Me too. I was like, where do they get that boat? Why is Auntie Em fucking knitting? Like, this is a serious crisis.
Yeah, good call. I thought that too as a kid.
So then I look closer this time and I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah, they're just
so they're just like
randos.
fucking randoms that got swooped up. So then she sees Miss Gulch on her bicycle, and it's this amazing effect where she just transforms into like the classic witch on the broomstick with like the black clothes like flying in the wind, and she's green and they play that music and it's like, oh, it's so creepy.
It's so good.
I know that was a lot of people's like maybe a lot of older people have that as like a trauma thing, is that like seeing her turn into that witch for the first time is just like terrifying, and it really is.
So apparently that witch is wearing the ruby slippers, so people think that's actually the Wicked Witch of the East who got the house dropped on her.
Oh my god, can we go back?
I know.
Let's go back.
Gotta look
I'm
at
gonna
that.
go back and
but it's
watch
really
that.
hard to see, but
That's crazy.
it's true.
I love it.
I know.
Good fan theory. So then tornado stops. Boop. Plunk. Oh, wee.
I love that.
And then she gets up with Toto. They open the door, and the world is filled
Best
with
part of the
color.
movie, guys. It switches the color.
So cool.
So, well, that must have been a fucking mind-blowing effect when you like
Yeah.
had barely ever seen any color stuff. Oh my god.
Well, I think did the trivia say like what? I mean, this wasn't the first movie in color.
I glazed
but, like,
over some of the technical.
It may have been
ones.
more that like people weren't expecting
Yeah,
it
definitely.
to change into color. Like
Definitely.
they were just
Yeah,
assuming
no.
it was going to be
No,
a
they
black
definitely
and
had
white movie.
colored movies, right?
Yeah,
before this,
yeah. But the colors are so vibrant. It's what is it, Technicolor or whatever. It's gorgeous. So she's like, "Where the fuck am I? Why are the plants so shiny?" And then we see these little like flower stalks like pop up, and little people being like, "Hee," and you're like, "What the fuck?" I would be out of there in a second. I'd be like, "Hell no!"
Where's
I'm
she
not
gonna
staying
go?
here.
Back in her busted down
I don't know,
house?
I don't know. Awful. So then this bubble comes, and it turns into this beautiful lady in a crazy hoop skirt, ball gown.
Most
It's
beautiful
like-
gown you've
it's
ever
like,
seen.
Not just a hoop skirt, but the ones that like go off to the it goes off to the side too, like Marie Antoinette, that style, you know.
No, big hips.
Big crown and a wand. And she asks Dorothy, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" And Dorothy's like, I ain't no witch, bitch." Like, she's not a witch, so she's very confused. And Dorothy's also offended because she thinks that all witches are ugly and mean. And, ooh, bad news, Dorothy. Glenda's a witch.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
That's the embarrassing. So finds out that her house fell on a witch, a real witch, who's scary and who terrorize the little people who live in this village land, the Munchkins. So she was scary as fuck and being really mean, but then luckily Dorothy dropped her house on her. Like, what luck? So now
Glenda's like, "Look, there's the dead body." It's quite dramatic.
and the dead bitch is wearing these red sparkly shoes, and they are these magic shoes, and Glenda just like puts the shoes on her. I forget why.
Just like zaps him on. Yeah, why is
Why
that?
does she put it on her?
Because she's a
Because she killed her, so
to,
she
like,
just got to
protect
take
her
them?
or something.
Or something? Good
Something
call.
like that. I don't know.
I forget.
Who knows? But Dorothy's like, I want to go home. And then they're like, you have to go to the Emerald City.
No.
No?
So they like celebrate her.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they celebrate.
Very exciting. A lot of great songs
Yeah.
that accompany that little party. You meet like a lot of the Munchkins who are really cool, and they have like a really sustainable place. There is a mayor. There is a coroner. There's like a marching band.
Yeah, there's a lot of job options if you're a Munchkin. It's very great.
There's several guilds.
lots of guilds. There's like a little bird's nest with Munchkins. It's like anything you could ever want.
What is their jobs?
There's
Town
fiddlers.
babies.
There's fiddlers. It's just great. It's really great.
So yeah, they celebrate like nuts. It's like a New Year's. They're like, sweet, which is dead. Ding dong, which is dead.
Which is dead.
So unfortunately, there's more than one witch in this land. And
Right.
that witch is the other witch's sister.
Oh
right?
yeah, I remember why she puts the
Yes.
slippers on it now.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah. Because the other witch, the Wicked Witch of the West, comes up and she's like, "You killed my sister." Oops. I mean, like, she didn't mean to. It was an accident,
Yeah.
and also she's a witch and was awful.
Right.
But whatever. So Glenda scares her off and is like, "What about the ruby slippers? Like, those are mine." And Glenda's like, "Oops, not anymore." And she like zaps him on Dorothy's feet. And then the witch is like pissed and she's like, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too." And then Glenda's like, "You better get out of here before someone drops a house on you." And she's like, "Whoa." You're right. A house could come at any moment.
Bide my time.
Yeah. So she leaves and then everyone's like all scared. And then Glenda's like, "You have to go to the Emerald City."
Well,
What-
now
what?
Dorothy's like, I
Oh, yeah.
want to get the fuck out of here. This witch is gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's a little too scary. So Glenda's like, all you have to do is go to the Emerald City and see the wizard. And she's like, cool, bye. And I'm like, what? She
doesn't tell her how to
doesn't
get
tell
there.
her anything. Thanks a lot, Glenda. So Dorothy's like, how do I get to the Emerald City? And the Munchkins are very helpful. And they're like, follow the yellow brick road.
And then the end of the road.
But would have been more helpful, Munchkins, if you told her, by the way, pretty soon you're going to come to a cross in the road with 4 possible options of where to go. Take this one.
There wasn't one that said to Oz?
No, that's why she asked the Scarecrow, like, which way do I go? Like, thanks for telling me, Munchkins.
They probably like all ended up there or something.
Well, I think it's rude. But anyway, so she's off on her journey now.
Following yellow brick.
And so they sing her away. And she ventures off into Oz.
Yep, and where she meets 3 friends, guys. Okay, first friend, a Scarecrow who's alive.
Unfortunately.
Why?
I mean,
scary.
so scary. I just hate all the makeup in this movie. Is like very eerie to me, and especially this one because, like they have, like I can tell how they did. Like they made like a mask out of his face, like Mrs. Doubtfire, right?
Yeah.
And you know how like you put the mask a little over the chest, so you have that like extra part of it.
Yeah.
But they like kept that to look like the straw like head, and it looks like a severed head.
Oh my God.
And it's really scary, and because it just looks like skin,
Yeah.
and it scares me, and I don't like it, and I'd hate his little brown triangle nose.
I was gonna say, I was like, the faux flat nose is what I can't even look at that guy straight. I'm like, you're disgusting.
I can't. I hate him so much. He's so sweet, but
I know.
But
He really is the sweetest
but he's
character.
doesn't have a brain. Which, if you didn't have a brain, you wouldn't be able to talk. And he's pretty good at like dancing or whatever. So like,
Yeah.
I think he has a brain.
Debatable.
But he needs one. And Dorothy's like, "Oh, why don't you come with me to the Emerald City? I'm sure the wizard can get you one. He's gonna like send me home or whatever." And he's like, "Cool, great." So then he joins the party. Off they go into the apple tree forest. Brief encounter with the witch again. She like,
I'll get you.
her one trick she has is like, "How about a little fire, Scarecrow?" She does this twice. We're like, "We get it. Get a new thing." And then there's like trees. I don't know. But anyways, they come across Dorothy's second friend, who is a Tin Man.
Yep.
And this guy's like chopping wood, turned to tin. Wait, because he was chopping wood as a real person?
Okay, so this is what they do not tell you in the movie,
well,
but
I
is
know-
from the book,
well,
if you
you
remember,
told
which
me
is the most
that.
disturbing thing in the book. So the Tin Woodman was originally like a woodsman in the sense that like he cut down trees, right? So he like fell in love with some daughter of a witch, and then the witch like didn't want the daughter to get married to him, so she put a spell on his axe, and every time he tried to chop something, it cut off a part of his body, so they had to keep replacing it. How he ended up with a tin torso and head, though, is confusing. But anyway, this bitch is made of pure tin, guys, and he's hollow as fuck.
And he's got a little oil can, which is great because he needs that to like talk and stuff. Because he's pretty rusty, also, because he's been standing out there forever. Or whatever.
I mean, you really need to live all indoors if you're going to be made out of tin.
I know.
I don't know what he's thinking. You can't have an outdoor job.
I know. Like if you
Get
see
a desk
clouds,
job.
go inside. I don't know. Could have been avoided, but anyway. So he's like, "Well, I need a heart." And they're like, great, you can come with us to the Emerald City. Actually, it's funny in this scene because, and I did not notice this until this viewing, but the Tin Man has this great number that he sings. And like while he's singing and dancing, Dorothy like taps the Scarecrow on the shoulder and like starts like whispering things in his ear. And when I was little, I thought they were just not paying attention to the Tin Man, and she was just like gossiping, and I was like, rude. But
his
they were
dance
forming a plan.
It's really awkward.
It is, but I mean, he does a good job. He hasn't moved in like a billion years.
Yeah.
Cut him some slack. So they're
Little heavy
like,
on the
"Hey,
feet."
we were just talking. You should come to the Emerald City with us." And so he joins the group. Off they go. They meet the Cowardly Lion, who seems scary at first, but when push comes to shove, and when Dorothy slaps him on the nose, he freaks out.
He's just insecure,
He was
guys.
doing fine up until that point. I think he could have carried it through.
Totally.
Right? If she hadn't bopped him on the nose.
Yeah.
So he cries, and he's like, I don't have any courage. And they're like, oh, no problem. We'll get you some. Come with us to the Emerald City. So now there's 3 of them. And the witch is like, I got to stop this bitch from getting to the Emerald City. Put some poppies in the field. Poppies. Makes the mammals sleepy, right? Not the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, because they're like not real people. And the lion, Dorothy, and Toto fall asleep. Glenda saves them by like putting a blanket of snow. Who knew that
why did that
snow
work?
reversed the spell? It was probably like Glenda dust or something. It
Yeah.
probably wasn't snow. So then they get to the Emerald City. There's like this whole like kerfuffle, but they're still like very celebrated when they arrive there. Man, people roll out the carpets for people in this place.
The green carpets.
The green carpets. So there's this celebration, and the doorman's like, no one ever wants to see the wizard. You can't see the wizard. And I forget, why does he let them in? Oh,
Because she cries about...
she says that I killed the witch. She has the ruby slippers. It's like her pass. And he's like, whoa, why didn't you say that in the first place?
Yep.
That's why they're like honored guests, because they did such a good deed by like killing the witch of the Wicked Witch of the East or whatever.
I thought it was just because that was like the mark of Glenda and they knew to let her in or something. I don't know.
They're Glenda's shoes?
Or that they're associated with like
Something.
with
Who
that.
knows? You know, these are things you don't really think about in too much detail.
Maybe
until
all the witches have red shoes?
maybe
Making shit up now.
those are all their magical shoes because
Right.
they're magical. It like gives you like
gives
some
you,
kind
like,
of power,
powers.
even though Dorothy doesn't use it until the end. But
Yeah, so they're like, we need to see the wizard, and they come up with all these guards who like won't. I don't know. They keep being like, no, you can't see the wizard. No one's ever seen the wizard. But they end up like figuring out how to get up there and meet him, and he is scary, guys. Okay, he's basically like a floating head that is huge, and you're like, you're scared of him. He has this big booming voice. There's like fire everywhere, and he's like, ah, like. So they tell him what their problem is. You know, I need a heart, a brain. I want to go home. Blah blah blah. And he's like, okay, fine. You know what? I'll grant you these things, but you have to kill the Wicked Witch of the West, and to prove it, you got to bring her broom back.
wow.
So they're like, okay, guys, we really want to do this. There's 4 of us. I think we can do it. So they skedaddle and they head towards the castle of the Wicked Witch of the West.
And then, but wait, when did they get taken by the monkeys?
That's when they get taken by the monkeys. So they're like getting there, and they get like sidetracked. They're in like some forest, and I forget why.
But just Dorothy
Yes.
and Toto
Yep.
get
Because
taken.
the witch knows that they're coming and is like, bring back the girl and just basically like kill our
Yeah.
friends.
Awful.
We don't need them.
So they do. They're okay though. The Scarecrow gets like maimed, but he's a scarecrow, so they just like stuff him back together. It's
God,
kind
I
of
hated that
It's kind
part,
of
though.
violent.
Oh, I
It's,
hated that part so much.
Yikes, scary.
They like pull off all different, like all the straw out of him in like different parts of his body.
Ugh, it's
But I
great.
love when
Yeah.
they find him. He's like, my legs are over there. My torso's over there.
So they go to save Dorothy, and then they these like scary guards of the witch's castle overtake them, but there's like a fight, and actually our friends win.
That was weird.
It's impressive. I didn't see that coming. I thought they would have lost, but they changed it. They do a Star Wars and, like change into those clothes and then sneak into the castle, rescue Dorothy from this like sad dungeon, I guess, that she's in that I totally missed.
In the attic. It's up top.
So what does so the hourglass? So the witch is like blah blah blah, and then it has an hourglass. But like, what happens when the hourglass runs out?
Okay, exactly. Because I was like, why are you freaking out that the hourglass is almost out, but like the witch isn't there? Was she just gonna like spontaneously combust when like the hourglass went off?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how the witch was gonna kill her, and I guess you
Like,
aren't
why
supposed
did
to know
she even
because that would be
need
pretty
to
scary.
wait for? I don't know. It was weird. So they get her out somehow.
With like, an axe.
Oh, I forget. I didn't realize he had his axe this whole time.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I was like, hey.
But
you don't
there
fit
is a
none of
weird
those
part where the
uniforms.
scarecrow has a gun.
Wow.
Did you notice? He all of a sudden has this like white gun, and you're like, what the
Maybe
fuck?
those guards had guns. The Winkies, I believe they're called.
They're my least favorite. So they rescue her, and then they like run away, and the witch is like, no, come back here. And then she does her old thing again, that old chestnut, puts the scarecrow on fire. Dorothy's like, I'll save you, gets a bucket of water, tosses it on him, but it like gets on the witch. Bad news for witches. If they get wet, they melt.
Yeah.
Who knew? I wonder if that's true for all witches. Like, if Glinda gets wet, does she melt?
Doubtful.
Because why does she travel in a bubble? It seems unsafe to me.
unsafe.
Whatever. So the witch is dead. They get the broom, go back to Oz. They're like, wizard, look what we got. The broom, sucker. And he's like, oh, shit. He's like, I didn't realize they were going to take me seriously. So he starts like saying like mean things, and it's like, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. And then Toto, fucking hero that he is, notices that the wizard is fucking behind this curtain, and it's just this fucking guy with like all these gadgets making himself into this like giant wizard. So he's like not even a real wizard person. And he's like, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, they're pissed. And he's like, okay, you want the truth? I'm just a very bad wizard. Like, I came here in my hot air balloon, it crashed. They thought I was a wizard. These people, like, I guess all people that fall out of the sky have to be magical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's logical.
With a hot air balloon?
decision to make. But they have all this crazy stuff. They have witches. I don't know. But so he has been like posing as a wizard this whole time or whatever. So makes it up to them. He's like, I'll grant you all your wishes. So he like does it, but like not like. He notes that like you don't need all that stuff. You've had it in you this whole time. So he like gives them all these like bullshit things that they think are real, but we're like, that's not real.
And they're still obsessed with them and do not like
they don't
like,
realize
really
that
get
it's,
the
like,
message at all.
Yeah, they really don't. They don't get it at all.
They're like, look at my cross. It says courage on it. I'm like, buddy, it was in you all along.
Courage now. Yeah,
Get the lessons.
it's insane. So and then it's Dorothy's turn. And he's like, I'll just have to take you home in my hot air balloon. So they're like, cool.
He just happens to be from the Midwest. Coincidence?
What a coincidence. Yeah. So they're getting ready to go. And unfortunately, Toto, like, what happened? He spots a chicken or something.
Beautiful Siamese cat. It's in the audience.
He's got a problem with cats.
Yeah.
And runs after it. And then the air balloon takes off. And they're like, wait. And he's like, I can't. I don't know how this works. You just told us you were like a famous hot air ballooner that flew across the country. This guy sucks.
Even I know how it works. There's like something in the middle where you like move the fire and it doesn't make it like go down. It makes it go down.
But like people of Oz work together, form a human chain. There's like ropes falling down. You can pull it. I don't like what the fuck. That
Okay.
makes me so mad.
Also, when the balloon goes, here's a new theory, right? Okay, when I was watching them all say goodbye, like the lion seems the most distraught. He's like, I am so sad. Like, I'm going to kill myself. He's really upset, right?
He's just sensitive.
So he's holding the ropes of the balloon, and I swear to God, he fucking lets go.
I mean,
Let's goes first, guys. It was planned. This was planned.
diabolical.
I know.
Wow. So
was like, I knew it.
Dorothy's so fucking upset again, as you would be. Glenda comes out and she's like, listen, Dorothy, you had the power this whole time, but I didn't tell you because I didn't tell you anything.
Like, bitch, I almost got killed. Not
You
funny.
could have told me I had magical shoes on this whole time. But she had to go through her hero's journey and make the discovery that as much as she wants to run away from home, blah, 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 there's no place like home. So Glinda's like, click your heels 3 times and say there's no place like home. So she does. After she says goodbye to her friends, and it's like really sad, and she's like, Scarecrow, I'll miss you most of all, which is like rude to those other guys. They're like, I feel like a piece of shit. And then she wakes up back in Kansas. She survived the tornado, which is like awesome. The house looks okay. It seemed in shambles last we saw it when she was running around.
Seemed fine.
Terrified, but it looks perfectly fine. I guess she just got a little concussed.
Yeah. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Best
Turns
case
out
scenario.
It was all a dream.
Right.
And Dorothy's like, oh, I had this crazy dream. Like, you were there. And then that, like, fucking wizard guy is there. Weird. And she's like, you were definitely there. You were, like, 20 different people.
You left without me.
And you were a giant asshole. Uncle Henry, you were not there.
Yeah. Why was Uncle Henry there? That's kind of bullshit.
Sucks. But, so that's it. And then she tells, like, oh, Auntie Em, I realize there's no place like home. And it ends. So, dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So I like get the message and all, but like Dorothy, like get the fuck out of there. There is someplace else like home, and it's called California. Like get out of there. It's like so. It just makes me really
She's
sad.
Gonna thrive. I know. Like, what is her life gonna be like? I don't know. And then like Toto eventually is gonna die someday, and then she'll be really upset.
Yes. Well, she gets another one, but like
still,
I hope she laughs.
It's upsetting. Whew, what a movie. Yeah. But again, haven't seen that end part in a long time. As you can tell, I maybe didn't watch it again because I had to ask Sweetie a bunch of questions. God. Well, I just get so distracted because it's so boring.
I was like I was like,
can we speed it up?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. That's why I'm like not totally convinced kids are watching this these days and been like, yeah, it's a classic.
It's probably exactly like us. Like they watch the beginning, the fun, the cool parts, and then like fall asleep and their parents bring them to bed.
Yeah, because the end does get really dark, but then also gets very like more like morality play. So it's kind of like, okay, like we got this is really sweet. But if y'all remember, this is actually a musical. So quite famous songs. Again, songs that like everybody knows. And you know, musicals, some people are musical people, some people aren't. And like this is one that is like literally everybody knows. So that's pretty cool. So I know Sweetie's been practicing all week for this. Want to get the songs out of the way first? Do our sing along?
All
right. So set up the first song.
All right. First song. Dorothy's upset about living in Kansas, wants to leave. So after everyone kind of like shuns her away and is like, I don't have time for you, get out of here. She sings this song. And she sits on this like big tractor wheel or whatever with Toto, and she's like, I'm going to sing a song about my life. It goes a little something like this. A 1, a 2, 1, 2. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. It's beautiful. It's sweeping. So like these sweeping melodies. What's your favorite part?
Okay, this is like kind of random. My favorite part is like the twinkle noise that plays.
Okay, I meant like lyric.
Oh, but you know what I'm talking about? There's like this like ding, ding,
at the
ding,
end.
Ding. No, like throughout the song, it's like
you don't like the weird bird chirping somewhere, and you're like, are there birds in Kansas?
Of course, there's birds in Kansas. Bluebirds fly. What's my favorite lyric? I always like mess it up. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind. Troubles smell like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. I love the lemon drop.
Nice. I like the like. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why can't I? So sad. She doesn't understand like why she can't get out. You know, it's like really sad. But amazing song, like I said, been covered a million times. My favorite version is the one that Tori Amos does on a live concert on a B-side from the Boys of.
Boys for Pele.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
What about the one that where the sweet little like Hawaiian Polynesian dude
That's
played?
Cute. Dad loved that one.
Yep. So that was our dad's like favorite song. But then also that inspired like everyone to like have little ukuleles and use that for their wedding, like coming up the bridal party coming in. I'm like, okay,
so
ruin that
many.
Song for me. I mean, it didn't ruin the song, but I was like, oh god,
it got overplayed.
Oh,
who would have thought the ukulele cover of "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" would be overplayed? But
Dude,
it did.
white people suck.
It did. All right, so that's that song, Gorge.
Yeah.
Oz.
All right, so I'll make my song list here. Okay, so this is crazy, right? Because when I was looking up the soundtrack to this, the what I consider basically like when she gets to Munchkin Land, it's like a continuous song, right? And you forget that those are like all different songs. There's like 5 songs in Munchkin Land.
I would call it like the Munchkin medley.
Yeah, no, I just like I thought all of them were Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, and then I started looking, and there was like, okay, so the first one is actually, which is a good one. Come out, wherever you are, and meet the young lady who fell from a star. Dong, 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 dong. She brings you good news, or haven't you heard? When she fell out of Kansas, a miracle occurred.
So all the Munchkins come out, and you're like, oh, that one's creepy. And you're like, that one's just a child. And you're like, that one's just a regular person who's a little short. Yeah. Like, you start noticing things. But anyways, yeah, good song. And then...
And that's basically just like Dorothy like relaying the story, right? And it's really good because it gets like really fast, and it's one that's kind of fun to sing.
I thought that was a different song.
No, right?
The house began to pitch. That's come out.
That is a different song, but I don't know what the title is.
I mean, me neither. It's just the like explanation song. I don't know.
Would you want to try to sing that part?
No, because I don't
really
know.
fun.
It's like it's all the itches. Yeah. The house began to twitch.
The hinges took up something. Pitch. They landed on the wicked witch in the middle of a ditch, which was not a healthy situation for the wicked witch.
They really missed an opportunity to use the word bitch, but like whatever. We all know what she was thinking. Yeah. Just like Auntie M. Yeah, so it's a good song. And then like the coroner stuff is a different song. Still?
Is that Ding Dong the Witch is Dead?
Oh, and then Ding Dong the Witch is Dead. And then
Follow Yellow Brick Road.
No, but then all the guilds.
Yeah, what's the guild one? No, isn't that all? See, that's all I think in Ding Dong the Wicked Witch is Dead, essentially.
So, all right. So Ding Dong the Witch is Dead. So we meet all these like Munchkin characters. So we meet the coroner, we meet the mayor, we meet some guilds. So we got the ballerina girls, who are the Lullaby League. I wonder what they do. Like, what is their? Do they have meetings? Are there only 3 of them total? Why is the little girl in the middle actually a baby? She's so tiny. And please, as a ballet dancer, give us your professional commentary on...
Lord, I can't even watch that scene. Their feet are insane. I mean, first of all, like, wait. I mean, so that maybe they weren't young, but, like, their body is so tiny that, like, you really can't be that tiny to do point shoes because you have, like, no muscular and, like, bones to keep yourself up. So they're, like, all turned in. They're, like, barely on... They're, like, in the very tip of the... like, the shoes all weird. I'm like, ah! But in general, they're actually pretty good dancers. Their turnout is horrible.
Wow. Yeah, so that's that. And then we get the Lollipop Guild, which are, like, 3 ragamuffins. These guys, I mean, gave me nightmares pretty much for my whole life. Like, still till today, I'll close my eyes and see that one guy with, like, wow.
They're like miniature
looks like
tiny clowns.
Draco Malfoy. Yeah. And the way that they do the makeup for Munchkins, I think this is what upsets me the most, is that they put bald caps on their heads. And they like color it in. So they all have like really high back like hairlines, or they're like
and
half
it's
bald.
Really scary colored hair too.
And then spray paint their hair bright orange and then shellac it. Like what?
Yes. So like while the Munchkins are like the part as a little kid, you're like, these are so cool. You're like, these are making me pee my pants with fright.
Never thought they were so cool. Like that part always made me extremely uneasy. Especially the Lollipop Guild. They're just creepy, and their little dance they do is very creepy. And then at the end, they're like, "Yay!" and they do the the baseball thing.
Why?
Which
I'm obsessed with that. I was waiting for it when I was watching it. I was like, I can't wait till they do the weird like shake arm.
It was one of our inside Sweetie jokes, but it's like, and I think we talked about this in another movie, and we were like, "What do you call that?" And we tried to search for it, and it didn't work. So I call it like the baseball hooray. It's so old fashioned. Yeah. It's like an old fashioned, expression for like celebration. It's like yippee! It's so weird. Would love to know the origin behind that. But okay, so then follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, so we're not gonna sing any of those songs?
Oh. We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild. When I was little, I thought it was the Lollipop I didn't think it was. I didn't know the word guild, so I
Yeah.
didn't know that was it. But what did I think it was?
Lollipop?
We represent the lollipop
Guild?
field. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
these
didn't
songs
thi-
are
I
pretty
didn't know what it
basic
was.
because then the lullaby one is "We represent the lullaby," and they're like really, really high pitched voice.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty simple lyrics, just like explaining who they are. The coroner part is really good. As coroner, I must aver I thoroughly examined her, and she's not only merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead. Very cool.
scientific.
Yep. And then the mayor has like a whole thing that's pretty cool. She gets to ride in like a cool little horse car.
Donkey.
Yep.
Donkey
oh my god,
cart,
you know
maybe?
what? Okay, so can we do favorite munchkins
Yeah.
in this conversation?
Sure.
Who's your favorite munchkin?
None of them.
Let's pick one.
They're all scary. One of them looks like our weird cousin.
You don't listen.
You don't know which weird cousin it is. It's Kate. It's Kate Conti. Just kidding. I don't know. I think like the mayor is maybe the least creepy for
Okay.
me because he like is comical. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like a Monopoly guy or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. He's like that, such a round little face. Okay, this is like might be like unpopular opinion, but like I'm obsessed with the little marching band. Okay, their moves like drive me bonkers.
Well, if you watch the very first time they come on the screen, the guy in the front is totally off beat, like with the other guys.
yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like off, and you're like, oh shit, oh shit. He picks it up
they're
later.
like pretty
but-
good. They're pretty good.
But also, is that Nazi stuff? Like,
I don't know, but like they have these like tiny little legs, right? And they look like little sticks, just like coming out because they're like so precise. And then they have those like tall like marching band hats, and they have like the white uniforms with the green. Oh my god, I just like I couldn't stop watching it. I was like, oh my god. I mean, any like synchronized stuff kind of drives me like nutty, but oh god, I love it.
Good times, good times, good
I love it,
times.
I love it.
So that's all the Munchkin stuff. Now we get to our friend song. So Scarecrow. I could da na da na na.
Do you know any of the lyrics to these songs?
No, because I hate them.
Oh my god, you hate
I don't
these
like
songs?
these songs. Not these ones. These like the brain,
Yeah,
the heart.
I
I don't
know
like
that.
any of those.
So, how I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with
Again,
the
if you know all these
something.
big words, you have a brain.
yeah, totally.
If you can sing,
and like
please.
Dorothy sing parts of that song too, and I like her, my favorite line of hers in that. It's like, you could be another Lincoln if you'd only had a brain. Now I can tell you why the ocean's near the shore.
Yeah, so it's okay. Again,
Yeah, I don't really know the lyrics either. I just made that all
Okay,
up. I'm
thank
like,
you.
I can tell you why the ocean's near the shore.
Does it rhyme?
I don't
So
have a
that's-
brain.
That's a Scarecrow song, and then the Tin Man song. If I only had a heart. So you know they don't really change it up too much.
Yeah.
But he did some crazy dancing effects. You know, wires. I think they used.
Yeah.
And
What do you think about his costume? Are you
Okay.
creeped out?
Yes. Well, okay. So when I was little, he was the one that I was the least creeped out with for some reason. Unfortunately, things have taken a terrible turn because I noticed he has a trash diaper, and it's very upsetting.
What's a trash? Like
They use
a loose like butt?
yes. The one part of him that is not made of like metal is his like butt, because I think that like he needed to be able to like move and dance or whatever. So it's clearly like a trash bag that they painted like beige or whatever, and it looks like a dirty diaper. It's so upsetting. Like watch it again.
Wow.
Trash diaper.
You just ruined the
garbage
Tin
diaper.
Man for
So
me.
upsetting. Well, I'm sorry. I want everyone else to feel what I felt last night. So
Well, he's my favorite, and here's why. He sounds like a gay dandy, and
What?
I love it.
is his accent.
I don't know.
It's like Ben Kingsley in Sneakers. Like it changes.
It
so he's like
does.
British,
Yeah.
and then he like does like a weird like. I think he was trying. What is that actor British?
No, he's not. So I did read that like he made up that Tin Man voice because it's the one he used to read books to his kids. So he thought like it would like appeal to children. So he was kind of like this like whispering like Long Island like dandy fella.
It's really weird.
There's a couple lines and I can't remember them now.
Remember
but I
them
was like,
either.
oh.
But I remember being like, "What the fuck?"
Or maybe when they're like stuck in the poppy field and he's like, help, help. And he sounds like a creep. He's like screaming Long Islander. Oh my God. Like it's so
Yeah,
funny,
it's
but
weird.
he's really cute. I do love that costume. It's kind of cool. Like every time he cries, like boo. And, he's
Cool
all like
makeup.
kind of fucked up and rusted in the beginning.
And
I didn't
then-
realize like how much
know.
until he gets shined
and
up,
then he
and
gets
you're like,
buffed.
wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you're like, wow, you're shiny.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, then the Cowardly Lion. Wait, does he have a song?
Yes. So okay, this is
He does,
was
but in Oz.
no, it's
in the
called
Emerald City.
So they do like a mini version of the other guy's songs, but it's called "If I Only Had the Nerve." You know, remember he talks like that.
Put him up. Put him up.
Put him up. Put him up. He looked like a family member also, and I was like, I wonder if you saw it too.
First letter. Oh
Yeah.
no! I mean, I liked him the best on this view.
Yeah, I did too. Great character and like such good work.
Sensitive, but
Yeah.
yeah, great body work.
Yeah.
He jumps, he leaps off
Yeah,
the thing,
that guy
and
did great.
there's a trampoline hiding behind some bushes, and he bounces off. It's great.
Yeah.
I like him.
But they only do like one, a tiny little bit of that
Okay.
song because I never remembered it. I'm like, had the nerve.
Still
But
don't.
That's not even a good song. It sucks.
But he gets a better song later. So so they go to Emerald City, and then there's like the Emerald City song, "Horse of a Different Color." Well, that's "Horse of a Different Color." No,
Well, Mario Land of Oz.
Mario Land of Oz, you can. So yeah, so it's this whole fanfare. Part of the star treatment is that you get a makeover, which is like pretty cool. It's pretty nice. So Dorothy gets a new hairstyle. It's beautiful. I mean, that's one of my favorite hairstyles. What is it? A half pony?
Yep,
It's
with a bunch of
great.
curls.
With curls. And then she's like, "Can you even dye my eyes to match my gown?" And they're like, "Jolly good time," or whatever.
She had a good time.
They're like, what? That also freaked me out when I was little because I was like, why are they dyeing her eyes?
Yeah.
Like, yikes.
Sketchy, but they all have a little song that goes
Yeah.
with them getting like primped. So you have, and it's funny, like everyone who works at the salon is British, and you're like, that's cool.
Get a couple of
They're like these big, burly British guys doing like the stuffing of the straw.
They have the
And
dumbest costumes, though.
They're like little sailors.
They're like
or something.
t-shirts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're like, hello?
They work in the salon. But my favorite one is, and I've been singing it like literally all day. It's like those big burly guys again in like a weird British accent, and it's for the Tin Man, and they're like, "Dun-dun-dun, whether you're tin or bronze, that's how it off the day away in the merry land of Oz. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, and a couple of tra-la-las." And that like keeps going and going,
Yeah.
and it's so happy and like
Yeah.
cheery, and I
Yeah.
just love it.
And then they go outside, and like the witch fucking like ruins it because she decides to do some skywriting on her broomstick. Makes "Surrender Dorothy," which is like a really long thing to write on your broom. I bet she got to like 3 letters, and she was like, "Why did I pick this?" It was pretty long.
Well, I don't know if you know if they showed SU and then a blink later, it was like the whole thing done. I'm like, girl, it's fast.
Jeez, and it would have like disintegrated by then because skywriting doesn't last that long.
Well, she's
But my
magic.
favorite part of that scene is when, and this is my favorite random line that I've just started using today, is when like a random like Oz person's like, "Dorothy, who's Dorothy?" Like, I love that. "Dorothy, who's Dorothy?" Like, I don't know, someone in trouble.
People in Oz are over the top. I love it. I want to live there so bad.
Yeah,
It's a fun place.
So then we get the. I guess this is the
the last
song.
one?
What about "Oh We Oh"?
Oh, is that considered a song?
They kind of have a song. I don't
Well,
know. Whatever.
but you missed the Big
did?
Lion song.
Okay, the Lion song, which is
If
I were
king of the
forest. Joey Gladstone does a great impression of this. He does it at least 10 times throughout the course of Full House. If you want to go back and watch it, any episode he probably does it. Like the witch, get a new bit, you know.
Okay, what's your favorite part of this song?
Okay.
Do we have the same one?
Wait, like lyrics or
No,
part?
the
Okay,
part of
okay.
like, so like the
It's
music video of the song.
obviously when they pick up the rug and it becomes like a cloak,
Oh
or
my God.
is it the flower pot
Thank
crown?
you. It's the flower pot crown.
So I never noticed. I don't know. Again, maybe I was like bored or whatever. I did not fucking notice that the Tin Man takes his axe and chops the flower pot. Like, rude.
To make a crown is ingenious.
I know, but like, can you imagine if these like assholes showed up and they're like, "Well, now we're gonna take this rug. Now it's mine. Flower pot. See you later. We need it for a prop." Like,
I mean, it's cool because you're like, wow, that really
it's
looks
a
like a
perfect
crown.
Really, really good axe work.
But that
Tin
rug
Man.
was like really not well placed. Like, what was it doing there, and why is it that shape?
It was obviously a cloak. Like, it was like, this is what it was. It wasn't a rug. But yeah, I like that.
So that's a really fun
yeah.
song. So he's just like, you know, trying to be ultimate courage. But is that the one? When does he jump out the window? because someone posted that scene the other day, and I was like, I'm forgetting like when that was. Does he jump out the window?
Does he? I don't know. Maybe someone did a
He gets
mashup.
really scared or something.
What window? Where? Where's there a window?
Is this a different movie?
Well, maybe it's like a
Is it
mashup.
outtake?
Maybe they took like that shot of him jumping off the like cave thing and then like inserted him into a different
I'll have
scene.
to look this up later.
I don't know. It's not ringing any bells.
April fooled me and posted that photo. I swear to God, Johnny Vaught. Okay, yeah. So is that all the songs? Yeah,
I guess.
Right.
Oh, Gail.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you that the songs are pretty lame. My favorite is Merrill Land of Oz. Good song. But then obviously Summer of the Rainbow is like the only kind of like real song, because the other ones are like,
Right.
I mean, they're like real, but they're just kind of like fun.
Yeah, they're just like filler song, like to get things moving, kind of.
Yeah.
And they kind of like give up on the songs. I feel like after a little while, they're like, I don't really care about
Yeah.
songs. Like
Oh,
maybe the wizard could have had his song, the
Yeah.
witch could have had his song, but no.
It's almost like a halfy
like,
musical.
we're done with songs.
Because it's not like necessarily that those are like moving the story along. They're just like little like
Yeah.
additions
Yeah.
that make it like fun music. You know, like what we said in like Teen Witch, we're like, why is this a musical? Because there's like 2 songs. Like, are you really a musical if you're like 2 songs? I'm like,
Totally.
no.
Wait. Okay. So, creepy things. The Twister, obviously, creepy. Kansas, creepy. Studio filming, creepy. We didn't talk about this yet. I hope you will support me in this, but the shriveled witch feet may be one of the most upsetting things
good one.
in the world. They take the shoes off the witch, and her feet curl up into like fruit roll up style, like and like it's not fun. The Munchkins, sorry, I know it's like poor form to be afraid
Yeah.
of them. But I'm only afraid of them because of their costuming. Like, if it was just a bunch of little people, I obviously wouldn't be afraid. But unfortunately for little people, I think that this movie, created some bad bias and fear of little people.
Right.
So,
And probably the word munchkins.
yeah. And I really hate their shoes. They're like these little shoes with these like long flower sticks like sticking out the end.
Yeah.
I hate that. How everything's plastic, scary. The monkeys, why are they so scary?
They're
It's the
terrifying.
makeup again, because they use that fucking like prosthetic over a real face thing.
Was one a real monkey?
I mean,
Is this
Don't
in a different movie
think
too?
so.
I'm just thinking of like the little main one, but yeah, that's a person in a costume. Whoa.
I just hate, and I experienced a similar feeling when I watch 2001: A Space Odyssey or Planet of the Apes, where
yeah.
when you can see the real person's eyes,
Yep.
and you're like, that's a person.
Yeah.
That really freaks me out. I think.
Totally.
So that I think that's why they're so scary. But then the castle guards are also very scary. And
Why did I remember them being blue?
it may have been like our color,
Yeah,
like TV.
but they were like green, like
TV
the witch.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they-
But you know what? They turned out to be okay, even though like. Guys, if you hated the witch and you were afraid of her, like, someone dump some water on that bitch. Like, why are we living under her tyranny?
You know how that works.
They're just like, as soon as
Dictatorship.
she's gone, they're like, thank God.
She sucked. Worst boss
Sorry we
ever.
tried to kill you. Yeah, there's that. What else? What am I missing? I'm
What do you
missing
think
other
the
things.
winky chant is?
Oh, oh. It's not like a word. It's just like a sound.
Well, a lot of people
It's
have like
not
a lot
Oreo.
of different. Yeah. Okay. So when I was little, I was like, Oreos. Oh.
I know
But
you-
a lot of people, they have like they've made up different words for it. So it's like here we go. Oh, and there's like all this stuff. So the trivia was like, well, there's no actually like even in the script, it doesn't give like any instructions. I don't know like who told them to do that or whatever, but
is it,
effective guys.
Oh, here we go. Is it a drum line? They're like, oh, here we go. Oh,
Speed it up.
here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
They could be a drum line.
Love it.
I know.
Good times.
Yeah. What else is scary?
Well, I know that's the end of my list. I know I had like
Wow.
more, but did I miss any that you thought were scary?
So I already said
I mean, the witch is
the
scary.
Okay, the witch is amazing. First of all, I watched this with a totally different like view of that woman's performance and how amazing it is. Oh my god.
Well, like also, I would be so upset if someone killed you with a house. Like I would lash back too.
No, definitely. And like I don't think she's like I mean she's like pretty mean.
Like yes, she's a dog killer, but she has a point.
But I'm
Killed
just
her
saying,
sister.
like that.
Yeah, great performance.
Yeah, that actress was like, I'm surprised she wasn't
Margaret-
nominated for
Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah, that she wasn't nominated for an Oscar because that is like such an amazing performance. I'm like obsessed with it. And I guess she was like a really cool lady too. She was like super nice on the set, and it made Judy Garland like really difficult to like be scared of her and stuff because she knew she was like
Did they give
so
her
nice.
a prosthetic nose?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
She was a single mom and had to be to the studio, be like, listen, like I'm only available for these hours because I got to take care of my kid. And they like weren't flexible at all.
Of course.
Surprise, surprise.
And then they fucking like burned her with the fucking makeup and the flames.
So let's talk about that story because this is the first time I've heard about it, and I am like seriously
way.
disturbed.
We know.
Okay. So, guys, if you've seen this movie 100 times as we have, you will notice that in the Munchkin Land scene, when the witch is exiting, you will see like the smoke thing come up like way before it's time, or it's like the little thing comes out of the floor and the smoke starts to come up before she like stands on the platform, and it would have had the whole trick, right? So that was actually the first take they did, and they're like, this isn't great, like we got to do this again, right? This looks like shit. So they do it again, and unfortunately like the thing that like popped up the smoke, like the door like got stuck, I don't know, something, it like blew all in that woman's face. Her makeup was flammable and she got crazy burns. Then they cleaned it with like this, because they had to get the makeup off her face. It's like straight up alcohol stuff to like get the makeup off her face. It was
That's
like all
crazy.
encrusted in the burns, and it was like the most painful
Well,
thing.
the Tin Man too was like highly allergic to that
Yes,
makeup.
what is going on
Or,
with
sorry,
this makeup
the
department?
original Tin Man. There was
Yes.
another guy who played him. He
wanna do that
was like
story?
dead by the makeup because it was obviously like lead paint or something.
Yep.
And they were like, "All right, we need a new Tin Man." So that's what happened there. Because I think the guy who is the Tin Man was originally going to be the Lion or the Scarecrow or something.
No, it was the Scarecrow was originally going to be the Tin Man, but he switched for some other reason. I thought.
Because the makeup.
No. Because he didn't want that one or something, and then they had to get a new Tin. No, maybe I'm
No,
making
it's
this
it's
up.
the Tin Man. The original one got sick because of the makeup,
paint,
and
and
then
then-
they switched the Scarecrow with the Tin Man, and then found a new Scarecrow or something.
Oh.
It's something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, wow, 1939, different time.
Guys, get your stuff together over there. What are they doing?
They
This
just
flammable
they didn't
shit?
have science, you know. I mean, they did, but they weren't great at it yet.
But she seemed like a cool lady. But yeah, so she's scary in general, and like obviously like all the things that surround her. So it's like,
Yeah.
yes, the nose, which became like so iconic. Her green skin, also very iconic. Her dress and like the way it moves is very scary to me.
Never really looked at
Oh
it.
yeah, and when she like flies on the broom. Though my other favorite thing is when I looked really closely at like the tiny little witch model that they have like flying around.
That scares me.
Oh my god, it was so cute,
like
and
it.
the way they like manufactured it.
It
And even
scares
when
me.
the monkeys like pick up Dorothy,
Yeah.
and it's like this little doll going like this, like it's pretty adorable.
The trees,
The
those are
trees.
scary.
Yeah, those were scary.
There's these scary guys in trees, and they're like, "You can't have my apples." And then the Scarecrow's like, "I'll show you how to get apples." He's like, "Hey, you ugly trees, I'm yelling at you." And then the trees like pull their own apples off and throw them at Dorothy and the Scarecrow. Like, ow!
Yeah.
Why are you pulling your apples off? But they're scary, and those
Yeah.
apples look. It's kind of delicious because they're like super shiny, and I always wanted one. Right? Those
Well-
always make me like want an apple, but then I'm like, well, that's not a real apple.
worms in them. Yeah, the trees are really scary. They're like men, obviously in tree
Hey, you.
suits,
Yeah.
and they bend in this like crazy way, especially when they're throwing the apples, and then his like face. Now it just reminds me of Poltergeist, and that like scary like tree scene too. There's something, and it's like even though that I know the ones in Lord of the Rings are nice, like that was still pretty freaky too. There's something about like trees with like human qualities. You're like,
Yeah.
no. Like
Sure.
the Giving Tree. Oh my god, it's scary as fuck.
Oh no, that's
Sweet book,
sweet
but, like,
and sad.
Oh my god, that thing had like arms.
But he didn't have like a face, right? The Giving Tree.
No, you're right.
I don't. Yeah,
As long as they don't have
he
faces.
just had like a personality.
Nothing more I hate than a tree with a face.
Yikes! Sorry. Guess you can't watch Game of Thrones.
No.
So okay. Anything else for scaring?
And we went over how scary the tornado
Okay.
scene
Oh,
was.
here we go. Scariest thing of all. There is an urban legend, and I'm sure most of you have heard this, that in the background of one of the scenes, there is a munchkin who is hanging himself. So, like, just the fact that that idea exists is very scary to me. And back in the day when we were like, when I was a young pup of, I don't know, 7, my cousin Kate and I were like obsessed with this rumor, right? And this was before the internet. So it's not like we could like Google like, where's the hanging munchkin in the movie? We just had to fucking watch that and like figure out what scene it was. We studied that. Like, we would, like, pause it. We thought it was during, like, the Yellow Brick Road scene. It took us forever to find it. Somehow we found it. I don't know. So it's the scene right after they find the Tin Man, and then they all leave together off into the woods. As luck would have it, for some reason, there's, like, these giant cranes outside of the Tin Man shed. So it's clear as day now because you can see them, like, walking around before this alleged hanging munchkin scene, right? And you're like, oh yeah, there's a crane right there. Like, it's obviously a bird. So the thing is just like a silhouette kind of in the background, but it's just the bird, like, opening his wing, and then he's like, boop-a-doop-a-doop, and then, like, puts it back down really quickly. So people are like, that's a hanging munchkin. And then they, like, manufacture this thing, which I don't know if it was true or not that someone, like, did kill themselves during this. Just not on the set.
Or unless it's been, like, covered up.
But, like, there was some munchkin who was, like, depressed at, like, the way he was being treated and, like, the money or whatever. So he fucking, like, hung himself on the set, and as luck would have it, they caught it on camera. Like, whoa, that's fucked
I guess
up.
they didn't have, like, a lot. They couldn't do a lot of takes.
I know, I'm like,
because
well,
they
why
keep
did they use
using that shit where people are getting burned and everything. I'm like, hello, take 3.
But it's scary, and, like, you can tell it's not a person hanging. But I don't, on TV, like, when our TVs were smaller and the TV was a little, like, fuzzy, it did look a little eerie.
Okay. So here's a little bit more about that story too, because that, okay, first of all, is like the biggest movie urban legend I've ever heard, because this got passed around so badly that they changed that scene of that film, and the point they, like, heightened the film and cleaned it up enough so that people could see that it really was a bird. They, like, added extra colors so, like, that bird would stand out, like, all this stuff. And then, like, some guy, like, went and, like, redoctored it to, like, make it seem like, you know, it was the hanging munchkin was still there, and tried to, like, put it off as, like, a conspiracy theory. So everyone's like, no, they're hiding it, like, blah blah blah. So that rumor still persists, which is nuts.
Oh man, I know what I'm doing tonight.
But, you know, it could have been true, because let's take this opportunity to talk about the Munchkins, right? Because the Munchkins were making much less than Toto. I am not kidding you. They made like $100 a week, or I don't know, a month or something. And Toto made like $500.
Who gets that money?
I know.
What?
The owner.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, the Munchkins were played by this group called the Singer Midgets. Were this, like, famous...
all of them?
Yeah, this famous, like, performing troupe that was owned by this guy named Singer. And, like, they were, you know, that's how I think they knew how to do a lot of, like, you know, entertainment and all that, and singing and dancing and
Makes
stuff.
sense.
I mean, I think they were, like, vaudeville kind of style stuff. So anyway, most of them were Jewish, having escaped the Holocaust, by this big group. So if you were, like, tiny and you were Jewish, I'm sure you would have been to the gas chamber immediately. And so they also spoke almost no English at all.
Wow.
So all of their stuff had to be dubbed, even though they're, like, their mouths seemed to be moving to the English, which is, like, kind of interesting.
Sometimes
but I
you
guess
can
they
tell
would have
it's
had,
a little
like,
different, yeah.
accents and stuff, even if they were. So I guess, like, the only guy who's actually speaks is the guy who gives her flowers, presents her with the flowers, like the little 2 couple.
Does he say anything?
Yeah. So he sings, like, a little line. Wow. But yeah, I thought that was so interesting. Yeah. So the Singer Midgets, not the correct term, but they are all very, like, I mean, and I guess that's how, like, midgets are. Okay, question. I'm not sure if this is appropriate, but, like, you know how, like, that Little People show, like, on
Little People,
TLC?
Big World?
Yeah. And you know how that is, that, like, a certain kind where they all look very similar, that with the short arms? That's a different
There's
thing.
different.
Okay.
There's, like, 2 main different. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but, like, the 2 kinds of dwarfism that I know is one where, like, your head is, like, normal sized, but your, like, torso is like small, and then, like, the other is, like, the really short one, which is, like, the dad on Little People Big World is the dad with the cane. He had the 2 canes. Yeah. He's like that whatever dwarfism that is, where he's like everything is, like, seems to be very small.
But you know how sometimes they have, like, a certain look to their faces that looks kind of similar?
That's probably not appropriate,
right? But, like, but how these ones all really did just look like shrunken people.
Some of them
have just been short people?
I saw a lot of variation. I saw a lot of variation.
Were not like a birth, like they were just really short.
Some really looked like maybe a 12-year-old boy. Like, I'm pretty sure one was.
Some were children, so maybe they weren't all the same.
And they're all,
midgets.
like, infantile. What is that? Emphasized or whatever. Like, they're all made to look like very like little children.
Yeah.
Just like, ooh. But yeah, I don't, it's a bad sitch. You know, as I said, create a lot of unfair things and name calling of little people to be like munchkins and stuff.
Right,
like that.
exactly.
So,
I mean, that was horrible.
I mean, Dunkin' Donuts named donuts after them, which, like,
I know, oh my god. But, like, a munchkin is a term for a small thing. Like, right? Like, that's just like where.
I hope so.
But
I hope it's not the other way.
Well, I think L. Frank Baum like made it up that
Hopefully,
word.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But did you know? So the mayor of, a member of the Lollipop Guild. I hope it's your favorite one. Literally just died last year.
You mean my least favorite one?
Yeah.
Maybe. I barely remember that. Maybe vaguely.
He died last year.
God, how old was he?
80 something. I mean, must have been
That's not that old.
like.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, he could have been like a little kid. Maybe he was.
He was
a little kid. Yeah.
We should research that. You know.
Is that crazy though? I mean, that's wow. Good for you, buddy.
I mean,
You lived a long life.
39.
Yeah, they all like. It sounded like they all kind of stayed in contact who did this movie, and they had they were kind of like this big group. Probably because some of them were in this traveling tour group or whatever. But they seemed to really like stick together, and they had like little Wizard of Oz fan groups. I think
good.
they would tour and be like,
Yeah.
"I was a munchkin."
They were like at conventions
Yeah.
and stuff. One of my friends like has a picture with two of them. They're like in their original costumes. It's cute. Yeah. Okay. What else? Trivia time?
Yeah. I mean, I've been kind of peppering them, but I'll go through the rest of them. Okay. Did you know that the snow in the poppy scene was made from asbestos?
Okay, again, 1939 was not a safe time to be alive.
Like,
really
totally
wasn't.
fucked
They
up.
did not know any of that stuff yet. And like, it's creepy to think about now. I mean, the same thing's going to happen like 50 years from now. They're going to be like, I cannot believe they put cell phones up to their face.
I know.
And like, so it's going to happen to us. But that's just, that's part of life. But bad
They
luck.
drink water from
Bad
the
luck.
tap.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the craziest story I've ever heard. I mean, not really, but it's nuts, guys. Okay, so L. Frank Baum, wrote this book. Forget when that came out. Turn of the century, maybe. Allegory on industries at the time, right? If you ever read that book, it's pretty good. It's good. It's decent. Anyway, so when they were making this movie, they gave the guy who played the wizard and then the wizard even in Kansas, whatever, choice of like all these coats, and they wanted him to look like very regal, but obviously like he was homeless, so like a little bit like dingy, right? So they gave him all these coats, and he's like a couple of them to try on, whatever, and he like looks in the name tag in one of them, and it says like L. Frank Baum in it, and he's like, what the fuck? So they end up like talking to the wife who's still alive because L. Frank Baum was dead at this time, and she's like, yeah, that's one of his coats, like I gave it away or something like that when he died. And it made its way to the movie set? Okay.
Maybe there wasn't a lot of donating clothes back then.
insane.
Maybe there was like one Red Cross, one Salvation Army. So
Isn't that crazy, though? Because essentially, like, L. Frank Baum is the wizard. He's the Wizard of Oz.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
If
I
it
thought that was
is
cool.
true. It's correct.
So Judy Garland, I think, was 19 when she made this movie, and she was supposed to be portraying someone a little bit younger. So they put her in a corset, and it was like extremely painful, as well as the ruby slippers. She like never wore them, only when the camera could see her full body. And there's like one shot, I couldn't find it, where they said the slipper, she was wearing her like practice soft shoes, and you can see them.
Which are like black?
No, I don't know. Good question. I didn't see them.
Oh. Man, so many things we need to go back and check.
I know. Totally. But the ruby slippers, guys, so that is, if you've never seen them, are in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. We went on a trip to D.C., and it was amazing.
One of the most magical things in my life.
I know.
Right?
They're beautiful. And they it's like one of the most exhibits there, to the point they have to like keep replacing the rug in front of it because there's so many people just visit it. I think that's so cool. Okay. So we talked about a little bit Toto, cute as a
Yes.
button, cute little dog. For what kind
What's
of
the
breed
name?
of dog that is? But
Terrier.
Yeah. What kind
Yorkshire.
of? Okay.
Yorkshire Terrier? I don't know.
That thing is adorable and helps her out of so many situations. Oh my God, she'd be dead 100 times if it wasn't for Toto. Let's be honest. Toto, however, is played by a girl dog. The boy in the movie, switch. Get it? We get it. Guess what Toto's real name is?
I told you. I mean,
No guesses.
Fifi? I don't know. Don't know. There's so many names. I can't.
Terry. It's Terry the dog.
Terry Murray.
Therese Toto Murray.
Wow.
But Terry lived an amazingly long life. She lived into
Obviously,
like the 40s.
She's making $500 a
She was
day.
paid more than a Munchkins. She had a pretty sweet life, and she appeared in a lot of other movies too. So she was a famous dog, guys. Go
Famous
Terry.
dog actor.
Go
Great.
Terry.
Go Terry.
Did you know that the lion suit weighed 90 pounds
my
and was
God.
made from real lion?
What?
Yes.
Yikes.
and he like sweat so much in it that they had like 2 people had to like dry it overnight, like every day, and it smelled so much like that guy's BO. It was like toxic.
When you say made from real lion, did they like pull the skin off a lion and like enlarge
A lion skin, like rose rugs, and like
Okay.
cut it up in pieces, like Silence of the Lambs style.
That's scary. Yeah.
In a lion suit.
Yikes. Oof.
I know.
A lot of problems. A lot of problems with this movie, guys.
I know. Okay, we did that one. Did that one. Okay, that might be it.
What?
I know.
I thought there was gonna be more.
That was a lot, and I sprinkled a ton throughout.
That's true.
Can I do my own personal trivia about this
Yeah,
movie?
obviously.
Okay. So, I think as we talked about once, I was Dorothy for Halloween. We'll post the pic tomorrow. It was one of my favorite Halloween costumes. Carol make it. You will see the craftsmanship is like right on point. It's adorable. I was obsessed with that costume, and we kept it for a long time. And you might have been Dorothy as well. No? From that costume?
Well, actually, a funny story. Mom made a second Dorothy costume for me when I was in high school because I was in a play called Dorothy Meets Alice, where Dorothy and Alice from Alice in Wonderland like meet each other. And so I made Mom make that for me, and I forget she used. I know we used. It had to have been the same we bought like a new pattern or whatever at the sewing store, but it was the same like one we used for your dress because it was the same dress. And we donated it to Nauset like after that, so I'm
nice.
sure they like still use it
my
if they need
God.
to. But it's beautiful, and yeah, it's just like what a great costume, right?
Yeah.
And you made the shoe. Dad made
So
shoes.
I like remember this moment clearly. So I had these like pretty like gross Easter shoes. They were like white. They look like boats, guys. They were like Mary Jane's, but like, you know, Anna Green Gables, like blah. So we were able to spray paint those red and then put all this glitter on them. I was obsessed with them. I loved my ruby slippers.
And I made my own when I was Dorothy too, and I used those like black character shoes you had.
Oh, because they nice little heels. Yeah,
and
because
spray painted them red, and then used those like Crayola glitter pens.
Oh, yeah.
And put that red glitter all over them, and they were awesome. I got a lot of. At the end of the show, we do like a Q&A with the kids. So we perform this show for like elementary schools, and at the end we do like a Q&A, and somebody would always be like, "Excuse me, how did you make your shoes? Where did you get those shoes?" And then I would tell them.
Yeah, definitely the best part of
Crafty
that.
as fuck.
I love
yeah.
those shoes. They're so cool.
But, yeah.
But it's a good Halloween costume, guys. I recommend it. Like we said, I mean, people will never not know like what that Dorothy costume is, and you know, your hair in pigtails as I'm wearing right now. But you know, I always thought that her hair was like a full-on braid, and it's no braids at all. It's like this.
It's just
like
so curly. It's
twisted
just so
and,
wavy.
like curly.
Yeah, it's just wavy.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
She looks so, you know, like if you ever read about Judy Garland, she had such like poor self-esteem. They always telling her she was fat. She was like lived on amphetamines to like keep skinny. And they also, so she was a child actor with Mickey Rooney, and they did all those like musicals in like, I forget when that was, like the 30s. And they just had to keep them like essentially like coked up the whole time to stay up because they like were doing these crazy long hours, and they were just little kids. So then they got them addicted to drugs, and that was like her whole drug habit.
That's your favorite fun fact to tell people
Oh
about
my
Judy
God,
Garland.
well, it disturbs me because, okay, first of all, the woman is beautiful.
Yes.
And that anyone ever told her that she was ugly or not good looking, like, what is wrong with you? Never fat at all. You know, it's just like, she had not a great time, but such a talented woman.
Love her,
you know?
love her.
I know. I just love her whole thing. And she does, again, like, in the acting in this, I mean, she does cry a lot. And sometimes I'm like, girl, stop crying. But she's really good at it. She's really good at the crying.
Yeah, she is.
So I also, a little personal anecdote is that I was in the Wizard of Oz musical. My community theater did this, and I was in like the summer production of this. Do you remember what parts I played?
You played like the Poppies,
Yep.
which you were like it was like a chorus line kind of thing. Yeah. Like an Oz person? No?
No, a twister. So we had people.
I do not remember
okay,
that.
you don't remember because it was awesome. So we made up like the twister, and we wore these like gray white leotards. And then my friend Lisa was like the main twister, and she had ran ahead with this big stick and would like wave it. It was like a big like flag on the end of it. I mean, it was like a dance interpretation of like what a twister would be, which is like kind of cool, you know?
Crazy, yeah.
But that was so fun. So when you did like these summer shows, it would be like a month-long run. You do them for like a whole weekend.
They needed dancers. So
And they
like,
needed dancers to fill in for the dance stuff.
Yeah.
But it was so fun, and so like I learned there's like a couple more songs that they don't have in the movie that are in the musical, which are really fun, like the Jitterbug.
Oh my God. Well, and the Yeah, the jitterbug. That's what I was thinking
Oh,
of.
the leaves in the trees and the bats in the breeze have a terrible, horrible buzz.
That's a good
The
song.
bees in the trees and the bats in the breeze don't do what the jitterbug does.
That would have
So be
spiced things up. Oh, yeah.
careful of that rascal. Keep away from the jitterbug. There is like, they did film those songs for the movie, but didn't use them. So there is like a clip of all of them singing that
Yeah,
song.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good song, though. That would have spiced things up. I'll be
know.
honest. Be honest. Missed opportunity.
know.
Yeah. Good times.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Times. Okay. Okay, this is like super random, but my favorite line, or one of them, is when they're on the farm and the farmer who plays the Cowardly Lion goes, he's like putting the pigs into the pen, and he goes, "Get in there before I make a dime bank out of you."
Jeez.
You remember that?
Brutal. No. Awful.
I
I just like when there's like all those like little chicks and Dorothy just like casually like grabs one and is like squeezing it in her hand. I'm like, can you be careful with that chick? I love those chicks though, man. Those chicks are cute. And then Auntie M, she really softens up at the end. She's like sweet all of a sudden, and she gets upset when they have to take Toto away, which I'm like, then don't let her take Toto away. Like, what is she gonna do? Like, Uncle Henry do something? I don't know. Like, I don't know. That still makes me upset. But she's just one of those old ladies who's like all business, no lollygagging. She's just like, we got a farm now, boys.
Yeah, and I mean, she doesn't have any kids, and
We don't know the sitch.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she did. I mean, she seems pretty old. Maybe she did have kids, but she
Maybe her kids are the 3 farm hands.
no, but I think she's kind of like maybe doesn't necessarily like.
And Dorothy's one of their illegitimate children.
No. She's just very stern, and I think like doesn't feel comfortable showing that kind of vulnerability. And she is not, not Dorothy's mother. But yeah, she's a complicated character, that Auntie M.
Yeah.
What about the wizard guy who I did tell you like plays like 800 characters, and like
Sweetie was so confused by
I
this.
was not convinced. I was like, wait, is that the same guy? And I was like, wait, is that the same guy? So because he really only changes his facial hair, but it really throws you off.
Are the people of Oz, like, is he in on the thing? Like, does he know he's all these people, or are they just like, we need him to play all these different people, or is that part of the overall wizard character? Is that he plays all these different things because he isn't real? He's a like a fucker. Like, I don't know. Like,
Who's your favorite guy of his? Once you're not
the door guy?
yeah, the door guy's the best.
Ring,
man.
the doorbell's broken, and there's like a sign.
Can't you read?
Oh, and then the horse that changes color. Wasn't that a scandal too?
Okay, no. Okay, so I have 2 more trivia facts. Sorry. They're just like coming to me because I was like obsessed with that trivia, guys. I was like reading a book. I was like, oh my God. So, okay, the wizard who plays all the parts, adorable guy, whatever. He like drank a ton. Poor guy, total alky. But really nice guy. Like everyone loved him, like so sweet. But the guy said that he was the drunkest during the doorbell scene, which you can totally tell because he seems like fucked
And you're like,
up.
I thought that was just the character.
Oh no! Yeah. Like I think he was hammered. Okay, the horses that changed color, they did it with Jello.
Oh, what?
Yes, Jello dye.
Oh, Jello, like the
Yeah,
okay.
like the powder, like that. You would make
It
the
was
Jello
something bad. I
and they
remember
had
the,
to like
like-
shoot it so quickly because the horses would lick it off.
Or I thought you were gonna say they would like die.
No, I mean that's what they use a natural one.
I
I
thought
guess.
it was bad, like some
Natural
kind of
food.
bad paint they used, and
No.
like because all like the animal groups were like animal cruelty, and I just remember that.
I love that scene though as a kid, and I still did. I was
Yeah,
like, "What
colors
next?"
changing. I like when the
Yeah.
bubble changed colors in the beginning. I love the bubble. I loved Glenda. I just like was obsessed with it.
Yeah, I think everyone was.
God, love it. All right, well, I think this might be our longest podcast to date. There's just so much to talk about. It's hard, and it's one of those movies that you don't think of as like shaping your childhood until you really like sit down and you're like, that shaped my childhood. And like obviously it's scarred us a lot.
Yeah. In a good way.
In a good and bad way. Anyways, I know you guys like the Wizard of Oz. Oh, we were supposed to sing an improv song for the people that guessed that we did the Wizard of
All
Oz,
right,
but
who
now
we
I
got?
forget. I only remember that Michelle guessed, so we'll just have to sing Michelle's song. I forget who the other person was. Oh my God. So embarrassed. Anyways,
Michelle, you're a great fan to us.
you guessed the movie based on a very vague hint.
You've been with us through thick and thin, through beaches, steel magnolias, pretty woman. Hey.
Oh, and April wanted to sing too, so we hope you like your song. Dun, 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 dun. I promise we'll watch a Kirsten Dunst movie soon.
Love you.
Bye. All right, cool.
Cool.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. Find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club. I mean, you could win a prize like getting your own song. So why would you
a song like that?
Why would you miss that? You can find us on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Oh my God, it's been a while. Please follow that so you can see the picture of Sweetie as Dorothy. Woo! And thanks as always for listening. Bye.